couple of days back, I made a video about the divorce and breakup of the Ndlovus, right? Now, Stephanie made a video very recently speaking about her friend, because a lot of social media people or bloggers have put the friend in the discussion of the whole thing. And Stephanie's video came out and she was saying, she doesn't know why people are putting a friend into the conversation, and she doesn't understand why people have now added her to that whole thing, to that whole conversation. And it got me thinking about the video that I spoke about last. And I was like, they had a video, her and her husband, 3 years ago, so 3 years into the marriage, they had a video where they said the conversation of them almost getting a divorce started with her and her friend. And so I was like, wait a minute, maybe I don't think she forgot that conversation happened, but maybe she wishes that conversation had not happened. It's easier to think, I hope that conversation, I wish that conversation had not happened, or that part was not in there, because now that the part about divorce, according to her own words, she said, this conversation of us almost getting a divorce started between me and my friend. So when you say that, everybody's like, oh, wait a minute, what was y'all talking about? It just becomes the natural next thought. Like, why is this conversation between you and your friend? I have friends who are married for years. And every single time I've ever talked to them, okay, some of the friends who I've grown up with were married for years and so forth. Some over 5, 6, 7, 8 years also and whatnot. And I'm telling you, every single time we talk, it's always, if there's an issue, it's about how to get around it, how to resolve it, how to mitigate, how to resolve the whole thing. Emona, do you need to talk? You need to talk to us, or you need to talk to someone else? That's always been the case. It's never, ever, ever, and I am not making it up, I've never had a conversation with a friend of mine who might have had something happening in their relationship, and I thought, yeah, let's talk about divorce. So you see, for me, when she made the video defending, because in this video she's kind of like defending the friend. She's like, why are you guys putting my friend in there and whatnot and stuff like that? You put it out there that this conversation about you and your husband started between you and your friend. The Bible says, whatsoever God has put together, let no man put asunder. Why does that conversation start there? So it's done, right? It's done. You've had the conversation. To come back and say to the public, why are you guys putting the friend in the conversation of your divorce? You said 3 years ago. We didn't say that. You said. You said it. It's fine. It's done with. Like, to acknowledge that helps with the healing. It helps with the whole conversation, because they will continue saying what they say on social media, right? But that's not made up. Like, you don't want, this is what I mean. Don't get the wrong thought. You don't want to tell yourself you didn't say that. You shouldn't tell yourself you didn't say that. You said the conversation started between me and my friend. And like I said, I have many friends who are married now. I kids, what they have problems. The conversation is about something else, like how do you fix this? A little bit of family interruption and whatnot is becoming a little bit too much. The conversation is never, ever, and I'm not kidding. The conversation has never been, leave your wife. Or maybe, do you think you guys will leave? Do you think, and even if me and the other friends are talking about the issues facing the other friend, it's never been that. How does that conversation become a comfortable conversation? Like if a friend of mine came and said that, I was like, wait a minute, what are you saying? I'll have an issue. I'll have an issue. But my point is this: you don't want to spend too long. Like, the quicker you resolve it in your mind, the conversation started between you and your friend. You resolve it. Everybody's accountable. Everybody can see where it started. Ignoring that, it's a very big deal. It's a big deal. Like, how do you live going forward? How do you live going forward knowing that you've told yourself, oh no, you guys, I don't know where you guys are getting that idea. No, you said that 3 years ago, right? Now, there's also this big part of this conversation where people are saying, people should be careful of how much of their life they put on social media. Most deaf. And at the same time, there's aspects about our lives that are very educating, right? That can be educational to someone else. And so now we have that difficulty of balancing it out to know, I say this, is it educational or what? There's that whole gray line, right? But I think it does good to know, like, reconcile the back of your mind. I said that. Because if you spend long enough telling yourself, the public is the one that spin that idea. The quicker you get to that truth. Yes, they don't have to know everything. They don't have to hear everything. But that conversation, according to you, you guys will say, you know what? We almost got divorced. We were thinking about getting divorced. Whatever the title was. You said this conversation stems from a conversation between me and my friend. That's what you said. And so if you said that, whatever the context around that conversation was, it's like, wait, why was the conversation about divorce? Like I said, it is not. It's not a normal conversation. I have never had that conversation with any of my friends. No matter how much difficulty. I remember this other time, someone got with a very difficult period and a very difficult point. They are in tears and they have this headache, they have this difficulty. And they asked, should I leave? And I said, based on the situation, I think you should sit down and pray about it, but don't leave. In that situation, just don't leave, sit down, continue praying about it, and give it a bit of time. And with time, guess what? It resolved. Not only did it resolve, it flourished their relationship. They blossomed after that. So now imagine in that conversation, listening to the pain in her voice, and she's crying and da. And then now I'm there like, yeah, you should have left. You should leave. What does that look like now? That blossoming does not happen ever. And on a different occasion, just about the same thing. Difficulty, in tears, the person calls, we're talking, and I'm like, let's pause. Let's pray about it. Treat this thing like this. I don't do counseling, okay? It's not my thing. These are close people to me, and so I should deal with it like this. And guess what? 6-8 months later, the person calls me and says, I cannot believe I almost made that decision. And so when they were heightened emotionally, right, extremely sensitive, when they brought up the subject about things, I said, well, wait, pause, wait, look around, let's look at the whole thing. Look at the whole thing, and it resolved. It's not, the quicker the quicker I believe she sits and reconciles. Yes, I said it to the public. Now the public has that information that conversation stems from me and my friend. The quicker she resolves that, better. I'm not in a place where I have a friend recommending me things that the Bible says don't. The Bible says what two people and what God has put together, let no man put asunder. I'm not having a conversation that God says do not do this, and then I'm in the center of that conversation. How is that like just a comfortable, okay? But again, on the previous video, I spoke about emotional dumping. Emotional dumping in the sense that you take conversations that should be had here and they are now being had elsewhere. And so what happens is that it's going to build a divide. It's going to build this wall where it feels like, I just don't connect with this person. Right? Because people feel like, after they've talked to you about it, which is the same thing that I say in discipleship. The moment you have a friend or someone and they start telling you these kind of things, you want to refer them to go back to their partner and talk to their partner about that thing. Because the brain can trick you to think, I've talked to them, and you don't realize, by so doing, by talking to other people, you haven't built the bridge between that, which can bond also as well. And so, these things, important we note them, important we understand them. If truth is clear, stick to it and leave it there. It's not pretty to say, yeah, I had this conversation with my friend, whatever the conversation was or is. The fact that conversation started there. She said that to the media. She said that. So for her to say, you know what? I don't know why people are so like, wait a minute. Why do you want to let yourself believe that? That is terrible. That's a very terrible thing to want to live with. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I would not advise that. Because I believe that kind of when you do something like that, it can cause cognitive dissonance, right? That's what they call it. When you're in between the thought. You said it this video, but then now you're saying, I don't know where you guys get it. It's just like, okay, over there, video, over there, 3 years ago. I believe a person must live, like when you say that, when a person lives in truth, that's what we mean. Recognize, yes, the outcome might not be pretty to say, maybe this conversation should have been something else. Because if emotional dumping becomes a lot for the other person as well, and they can fit themselves into there. And in a lot of situations when a person does that, when a person, like if a person is telling you about the difficulty they're going through, the things that they're facing, they're not okay, they're not happy, blah, blah, blah. Like they're telling all these things, right? So at the end of the day, what might tend to happen is that you might find yourself feeling the anger that they are feeling. Or you are becoming emotionally invested into the thing. And so at that point, you're not different to them. So your advice is going to be on the feelings. Your advice is not going to be what's best for them. So you want to be outside. You want to be almost a person almost outside. And you can recognize, you know what? I might not be fit to advise you right now because I'm as emotional as you. I'm not fit right now because I'm as tainted by the situation as you. I want to recommend someone. Be best. Because the moment your feelings and their feelings are just as thingy, the fair judgment is not going to happen there. Because now they've emotionally dumped so much that whatever the difficulty is right there, right? We're not even talking about what you've seen where on the podcast, where this one said that. We're not even talking about that. Just any level of emotional dumping elsewhere and the partner together are not talking, it's going to create a problem. It's going to upset the problem. And in discipleship, I've mentioned the very same thing. If you see that you have a person that you know and they're starting to do this, refer them back to their partner. But I don't think you want to live that you don't want to go forward in life like that. Like you don't want to go on forward thinking, I didn't say that. Like I didn't say anything that the public should have interpreted that my friend was advising me. There's a video where you said you and your friend were talking about it. So was the friend just sitting, not saying anything? What's this conversation that led to you guys shooting a video, that led to you and your ex-husband shooting a video together, talking about this divorce? Or a supposed, a hypothetical divorce. It started with you and your friend. That's according to what you said in your video. You don't want to go forward telling yourself, I didn't tell them that. Because the truth is, you said something that made them think that. Right? What's done, it's done, right? Now, personally, I'm a Christian fella. I'm going to be praying for reconciliation. That's kind of the Christian thing. It's that. Yeah, I'm not praying peaceful. I pray for reconciliation. That's the only prayer I can give you. So, but living going forward, thinking there's nothing there, I don't. Like I said, it can cause cognitive dissonance where a person feels like they are stuck in between a decision. It can cause problems later on. It can cause huge problems later on. But y'all tell me your thoughts down in the comment section. It's the Rituality Show. Daily Christian commentary videos. You should learn from these things, but while hoping and praying for them as well. Don't forget them in your prayers.